we'll see. I'm happy. Okay. Welcome to Crimson Guitars and welcome to a weekend workshop. This is normally where I will unbox a new tool or a machine or a toy or something. Today though, I am looking back at the Robert Sorby ProEdge. When we unboxed this about a year or more ago, hell, it must be 18 months ago, I had the very basic system, the knife, not the knife, it's nothing to do with knives, this is the chisel thing. This is the standard bit that comes with it and allows you to go sideways. And I've since acquired a couple of knife jigs and the skew chisel jig and the Gouge sharpening jig and the buffing wheel and the grinding attachment, the name of which I can never remember. This is a hardened rubber bit of coolness. And I thought I would basically just walk you through what we've got again, because this is going to be contentious. I absolutely love this machine. I recently took it to the Yandles woodworking show so that I could go through. I have about 50 or 60 chisels and gouges and things that I've been buying over the last couple of years, and they all needed sharpening. And I sat there and talked to people and sharpened and fell in love with this again, hence this video. Now, I'm going to start off by saying, if you are a Toolmaker lover, you are probably right. If you love Waterstones, you are definitely right. And if you love the ProEdge, which you should, you're also right. There are three different machines that do three different things. For me, the ProEdge is taking a rusty chisel or knife that has got the wrong bevel and needs to be brought back to life, or taking a brand new, just manufactured chisel or knife or gouge or something. And this is how people make chisels and knives. This machine is designed by people who make chisels and gouges, based on the machines with which they make those chisels and gouges. And you can't get better than that. The Toolmaker and the Triton whetstone sharpener and the Record whetstone sharpener, those are for somebody who has they're not buying new chisels or gouges, they're not changing the cutting angles and the bevels and that sort of stuff. Those are machines where you sit there for 10 minutes and you end up with a sharp tool. This is a more industrial machine. It's basically a linisher, but it can do, I nearly said almost everything or everything, and I'm not sure. Well, if you have the new Toolmaker, let me know in the comments below what do you think. This can do everything and anything that I want. I can take, especially with the buffing attachment and all of that, I can take a chisel that has never been sharpened or hasn't been sharpened in the last 20 or 30 years and has been sitting in somebody's shed. Look how long that is. And I can have this razor sharp within several minutes. And that there is awesome. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the various attachments, walk you through how quickly it is to change the belts and all of that, and then I am going to find some goggles. They're on the other side of all the lights. I'm going to have to walk carefully because protection, always wear protection. And yeah, we will see exactly how long it does take. In fact, let's be a little bit more difficult than this. We're going to take this gouge. It has got a completely the wrong bevel on that. That looks like, well, it's incredibly shallow. We're going to change the bevel and get this sharp for the most part. Now, fun times. Let us move. Okay, basically the belts, you can go from 40 grit, which is what I've currently got on here at the moment. This is Carborundum, I think, the blue one, which is better for steel. And it goes all the way up to the 3M Trizact blades, which are 3000, I think it's 2 micron. It is literally exactly as sharp as a razor. This is what they use to sharpen razors. And you know, it's by 3M, which are a fantastic company. So this is designed around those belts. So you can go from the coarsest, roughest, most speedy removable of material right through to razor sharp. And then on top of that, either go and use a strop, and I love strops. Whatever sharpening system you use, you really do need a strop. Or you can actually buff with a little buffing wheel and some polishing compound and go from there. Now, this is the standard jig that comes with it. We have a square, goes sideways, and you put your plane blade or your chisel in there and it runs along. Now, there are other options, and the Gouge jig, I want to say, works really well. You put your gouge in. Now, this is designed more for wood turners, or at least this part is designed more for wood turners than carvers. A lot of carvers I know have got gouges that are particularly short, and that won't fit in here. The bevel hits up against the bottom of this jig and gives you trouble. Now, you can use the traditional one as well and just hold it up against this square, which is adjustable, and that is another option. To be honest though, I find myself just freehanding it a lot of the time. Once you've got the angle set, you can do it. Now, I'll talk through the angle setting and then show you the short tool rest. So, loosen that just a fraction. The tool on here is built in, so you're not changing with wrenches and things. I love it. Now, you've got a bunch of holes in the side of the machine, in the 8mm thick steel plate. It's bulletproof. And along the front, it tells me what angles those correlate to. So this one is 15 degrees, that's 25, that's 20, 30, etc. And it goes all the way down to 90 degrees. So, for example, put that in the 90 degree one, lock it off, and suddenly you've got a 90 degree bevel. Well, at 90 degrees, is it actually a bevel anymore? I think not. For most tool work, we're talking 25 degrees, 30 degrees or so, and that is there. It's within seconds that you can change this, and it's amazingly accurate. Now, what I'm going to do is take this all the way off, pull that out, and again, within seconds, I can change to the short tool rest. So it works in exactly the same way. Let's put it back in the same hole, so 25 degrees. There we go. Now, if you have a short tool like a Crimson Guitars inlet chisel, for example, that gets up much closer to the belt, and it works absolutely perfectly. It's at this point, unless you're actually physically pushing this up, that it's not applicable. It doesn't have the guides anymore. So this is more for freehand work. However, it's incredibly useful. Now, let me loosen this off. I'm sort of winging this, to be honest. We'll show you how quick it is to change the belt in a second. Massively, it's amazing actually. Anyway, so the next thing is, well, let's take the belt off. You've got two little, I suppose, grub screws, nicely branded with the Sorby brand on there. And the side nut pulls off. Now, I've actually modified this. I've cut, there was just a hole there where it fits over the attachment for the buffing wheel or the rubber grinding what do they call this? I've actually sliced it through so that I can fit it over if I need to change the belt while I've got the buffing wheel on. I'm not sure if that's an improvement or not, because to be honest, you shouldn't really have the grinding wheel on. Now, loosen the tension. It takes a fraction of a second. You take your belt off and then you change it for another one. It literally takes, from loosening the tension to putting a new belt on, 5 or 10 seconds. Now, the other thing that we do have here, and this is fun, is the knife sharpening jig. Now, it all fits in the same place. Taking the short one off. I also need to take this off, for which I'm going to need a little adjustable spanner, which is behind all the lights. This has actually been a difficult one to set up and film. Now, this is the tool rest. It's not a tool rest, no. It's what the, I suppose, grinding plate? Linishing plate? I don't know. It's nicely polished. That comes off. This is an extension that basically pushes the surface that the belt rests on forward by 10 mil. And this allows us to sharpen knives. And well, if you've been following Crimson recently, you'll know that we've been building a forge for a while, and I'm very much looking forward to making knives and things. Okay, so that was the 40 grit or 60 grit we had on there. Let us go to, I think this is 1200. Put the belt on, put the tension back up, and then our belt is pushed forward. Now, this is the rest which we depend on to sharpen knives. Take the bolt that was a part of the other tool rests, goes in the same hole, and there we have it. Now, this doesn't have as simple and easy a way of figuring out the angles, because there are several other things involved. Now, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, and that is this side plate. This side plate is there for your safety, and you have to use it. There's a warning on the side. Read instruction manual, etc. Now, if you are rapidly changing between belts, I have seen a lot of people not bother putting that back on in between belts, and yeah, the problem with that is you can, if you are silly, get fingers caught and trapped and squished and hurt. So don't do that. Anyway, the rest of the knife jig. There's two sides. You've got the large and the small, which is the standard. And essentially, this is really cool actually. This bit here, one Allen key, that goes up and down, and that rests on the top of the tool rest here, which, oh no, I put the tool rest on wrong. I didn't put the tool back on. I'll use that for now. So that rests on there and effectively changes the angle that you are sharpening your blade at. And this is the first thing with this machine that is basically left up to you to manually figure out, really. The beautiful thing about this is that's curved on the bottom, and it means that you're staying on the rest and it rotates with your knife. Let's actually have a quick go at sharpening a knife. So this here, old hunting knife, I've had this since I was about 12, I think. Allen key. Where'd I put the Allen key? Probably underneath something. Oh, there it was. It was the first one I picked up. So you put your knife in. There's these two grub screws there that are rests. So if you've got a square bit of steel and you rest it on those two, it holds it perfectly square. My knife isn't quite square, so I'm going to have to judge that one. And then you just tighten it in the holder like that. Now, Sorby told me that a rather large proportion of these are actually sold to chefs because they can get such a fantastic and fantastically sharp knife out of it. So I'm just going to match the bevel that we had already. Now this is rather difficult actually because it's got a wave in the knife. So this is the action we're going to be using. And then you just flip it around and do the opposite side. And it really is very easy. Well, yeah, I felt that. I just need to tighten this just a fraction more. There we go. So as with anything, suck it and see, check it out, test it before you actually do any grinding. That action works for me. I've gone for a very fine belt already because we're basically there. The one thing is you don't want this to overheat. What I tend to do is have several things that I'm sharpening at the same time. So I can just put the tools down and let them cool down in between rounds. And I'm not going to go right through with this one because I don't have several tools all set up and ready to go. Now, especially when you're using grinders and linishers and, well, the health and safety police would say hammers and nails as well, but wear safety glasses. It is rather important. And, well, here we go. Okay, so despite actually checking, it seems to be cutting at a slightly different angle to what I was expecting. So I need to make that a little bit more acute. So here we go. Now, I was, as I said, at the Andals woodworking show recently, and the machine is actually quiet enough, even when grinding, for me to hold conversations with people. Your microphone is right next to it right now, which doesn't really help. But yeah, it's really cool. Must be said, this bench is amplifying it a little bit more than the one I had at the show. Anyway, I'm actually going to leave this set up here because this is almost it's almost sharp, and the fact that I've got this sort of S-curve in the blade makes no real difference. The belt is working perfectly fine. Ah, you forgot the glasses. There we go. All right, well, that's the big one. There is the small one. I'm going to leave the glasses on so I don't forget them next time. And it really does work perfectly. Now, I'm going to change it all over again. So, take the knife jig off. And we're going to go with the standard tool rest now. And when I put this back together, I'm going to make sure to have the tool in there because that's really cool. Standard tool rests. Yeah, you're hiding. And, oh no, hold on. I'm jumping the gun. Okay, so this is the longest, let's just throw that in the water there. This is the longest process when you're changing things over. It's changing between the knife jig and the traditional or standard tool rest at least. And it's pretty much the only time that you need a tool that isn't actually supplied with the ProEdge. So that pulls off. If we don't change that, our angles change as set by the holes. Now, you'll also notice that I'm not currently wearing a mask. This doesn't really produce dust. It sort of produces metal shavings, a fluff of metal, which is quite cool. The fumes aren't particularly healthy, I would suggest. I'm going to go right back to my 40 grit that we started with, so that I can show you what it's like to take a tool from car boot sale quality, rusted, to sharp. Because why the hell not? We got that there. You can change the orientation of the belt if it starts wandering through using this. We don't need to because that's working fine. Now, and I just need this from the short rest that we had earlier. So let's see, 25 degrees, it's the second one from the top, and that's going to be the most used angle that we have. We have this gouge here. It is absolutely completely not right. Now the problem with this is that, and the only thing that this tool can't really do, is the inside ground section. I suspect, I picked up the wrong thing. I suspect that with this wheel, it's a silicon carbide suspended in a hard rubber basically, which goes on the side here. I suspect you could actually get in there, but this is a case for water stones 100%. You have to, the definition of sharp is two polished surfaces meeting at a point at an angle, and that will cut. On this machine we can only create the one angle on a gouge. Anyway, we have the gouge jig here. Turn the tool on. Okay, now the other elephant in the room, heat. And I've mentioned this before, you do not want your tool to heat up too much because you will lose the temper, and you have to then, if you don't have a forge, cry. If you do have a forge, go and harden and temper it again. I have a pot of water next to the tool in which I dip the tools as I'm going, if I don't have 10 or 20 to do in one shot. The interesting thing is, that is now wet, and as I grind away, the water will evaporate off, at which point I dip it back in the water. And I'm just being a little bit more careful than I need to really, but I really don't want to have to reharden my tool. So there we go. Nearly there. Okay, now this is actually where I come on the problem that I mentioned before. In the act of grinding it to the correct bevel, I've reached the point where this is hitting the bottom of the grinder. Of the rest. I would honestly consider, I am actually going to take an angle grinder to this, and I'm going to chop the tool rest down so I've got maybe 10 mil or 5 mil underneath the guiding slot, and I'm going to do the same thing with this and chop this down shorter so that I can get in with the shorter gouges and things, because it's just so useful. Take the guide away though. And it's absolutely perfect. Now, in that minute, I've taken it from very much the wrong bevel to, this is 25. I'm actually wondering, just looking at this, 25 seems to be too, 15's far too much. Haha! Now, with this machine, I can literally change my mind and say, actually, I don't want that. I want 30. Which is more acute. Or 20. That's where I want to be. Hold on. There we go. Hi, I know what I'm doing, honestly. So instead of 25, I actually want 20 degrees, because that would be pushing my hand up too much when I'm gouging away. So let's go back and change that. And that's all it took. So we're done. We've got the right bevel, the right angle, and frankly, if I wanted to, I could probably go away and carve with that. It would be hard work, so I'm not going to. All right, so 60 grit. Let's go on to a very old and well-worn 240 grit. This isn't carborundum. Am I even getting that right? Carborundum? The blue one. It's not the blue one. But it'll do okay. And I'm gonna, well, let's see. Put that back on for safety. Oh, I've lost, there it is. Why would I put the nut on the opposite side of the tool? Just to make my life difficult. All right, we're changed, we're running. Now the finer you go, the faster it heats up. But also the finer you go, the less material you are trying to take away. And I now have a 240 grit. I just missed a bit. Let me go back for a second. Okay, so that's dipped in the water. Now, the purist will say, okay, well, 240. Most site carpenters I know don't really go much further than that. I'm going to go on to this here, which is the A6. I'm pretty sure this is the 600 or 800 grit Trizact blade. I keep on putting things down. I'm not panicking, but I am trying to get through this as rapidly as possible. Now, as ever, if you were doing 5 or 10 tools or more at a time, which most woodworkers tend to do, we tend to leave it until we've got a bunch to sharpen and we do it all in one shot. You don't change the blade, you just change the tool, change the blade. You don't change the belt, and you get through it without quite so many changes. But anyway, for the purposes of demonstration. $600, and I am just going to jump straight up to the 3000 because I can. And we're away. So, I don't know, this is one of those things. You've watched the other videos, you know that Sorby gave me this to do a video to see whether I liked it or not. And I suppose in the interests of transparency and fairness and all that jazz, they gave me this. I still absolutely love it. Because 2 or 3 minutes ago, I had a gouge that was at the completely the wrong bevel angle and was rusted and rusty and completely unusable. And now, actually I see still some 600 grit things. Now, it's almost ready to use. Oh, I can't tell you how much I love this thing. So that is, I'm not sure if you can see how shiny that is. All right, that is, even with the rust on here, that is, it's totally usable. Not as sharp as it will be after a bit of a waterstone in the in the hollow of the gouge. However, we also have this. Now there's a little pigtail attachment that goes on the side of the ProEdge, or you can have buy this attachment, which is for the piece of rubber. However, buffing wheel, put it on there. Now, not quite really good to go. They've supplied us with a light blue buffing soap, which is, if I recall, for silver and stainless steel and stuff like that. But essentially, put that on your buffing wheel. And we really now do have a high gloss, perfect surface, at least on this side. Now, I am going to have to go with hand tools, and rather laboriously now, considering how quickly this has taken me, I have to sort out the inside of the gouge. This is where the Toolmaker is fairly good, because it does have wheels or extras that you can buy that would allow you to at least do this to a certain extent. But I'm going to go in there, and this is, you know, almost a usable tool. I have to get Crimson Guitar's fret rubber out and polish off the rest of the rust and gunk that's on here, but which is now more dangerous because I have a really good cutting edge. But anyway, there we go. So 5 minutes, one tool, and basically the bevel is absolutely perfect. I remember an old Axminster whetstone grinder that I used when I was at college, and I would literally be sitting there for 2 hours on one tool trying to change the bevel angle on a chisel or something. Huge waste of time. When we have this, I don't know what else to say. Well, I'm all set up, so I'm going to sharpen. I have a new tool to play with. I have this Sargent low angle block plane that I'm really rather looking forward to using. So I'm going to, while this beastie is set up, have some fun, sharpen some tools, and I will be back soon. Thank you very, very much for watching. Click like and subscribe. I could not recommend this tool highly enough. It is absolutely awesome. When combined with a good set of sharpening stones or a strop or two, there's practically nothing you can't sharpen. I have a draw knife. I have a draw knife that needs to be sharpened. Fun times. Thanks for watching. I will be back soon. First of all, I have to change the belt, because this blade is raw.